Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer's here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
This is really, really cool because, and I don't know if you know this, I think Sam knows this, but we have a guest on the line who plays bass in my daughter's first concert she's ever been to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Her very first show was at Epcot, and this gentleman is going to be back at Epcot, and they're going to be there March 12th through the 13th. Ladies and gentlemen, Smash Mouth is back in town, and on the line with us is Paul Delisle. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Real
Great.
good. Thanks for the time.
So, Paul,
Yeah.
I'm super curious because you have had an amazing career with Smash Mouth, and you guys have been a band for almost 30 years, which is super impressive. And I'm curious to what, like, at this point in your career, like, what is your year like? Is there a touring season that you go on now? Has it settled into that, or is it all every year is different? Like, I'm wondering if there's like a routine in your career that you know, like, okay, we toured on this season, I take a break, I go vacation.
Do you get to be normal?
Yeah. Never. Yeah, we have settled into a little bit of a routine, but it is different every year. But generally, our season starts around now and goes till about, like towards the end of October. And then we do some Christmas things. But generally, we're kind of quiet in the January, February months, and then we kind of pick it up in March. But, yeah, we've kind of gotten into a nice little routine. But it does change a little bit every year. Sometimes we're on a bus, sometimes not.
Gotcha. That was going to be my next question. Is touring always the same? Like, do you guys have, like...
I mean, you got that Smash Mouth money. I figure, like, you fly around a little bit, Like, I mean, you guys, like Tom said, I mean, you've been doing it for so long that, I mean, how does travel go now? Or is it basically the same?
Well, we do, most of our gigs are fly-in dates that we get. But to be honest with you, I prefer the bus. I love getting on a bus because then you can do more shows. It's just so much easier. You can pull up right to the stage. You have your own little bunk that's like your bedroom. So I've always been a big fan of the bus. People think, oh, wouldn't it be better to fly? But the bus is much easier, actually.
Well, I mean, I can see it from a convenience point of view, and if you don't mind camping or kind of minimalist, the bus might be cozy and kind
but the bus is pretty nice,
Yeah,
Smash Mouth bus is going to be good.
It's a pretty nice bus.
$500,000 tour bus.
Yeah. I mean, we're not
it's more
talking
expensive
about
than my house.
We're not talking about a
It's
San
pretty
Jose.
comfortable. Yeah.
You guys are no longer a San Jose garage band. You're like, and then we were listening to what were we listening to this morning? Sam, we were listening to his other band that he started. Lackadaddy. We were listening to Lackadaddy.
Lackadaddy, yeah.
Yeah, we were listening to. Did you know that all those songs of one of your older bands are all on YouTube? And it was like rap rock, and it's like really funky. It's really good, man.
Yeah, Lackadaddy was fun. That was a fun band. That was. I listened to some of that old stuff recently. I'm like, yeah, that is pretty good. It was a little bit ahead of its time, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, the samples and the DJ aspects. I would totally agree with you. And it definitely. But you can also kind of hear where you guys, kind of morphed into Smash Mouth. And Tom and I were actually watching an interview where you said that kind of the reason you guys formed is you just wanted to do really complete and perfect pop songs. I'm bastardizing what you said, but it was like you wanted to do 3-minute pop songs that were perfect. And do you think that you were able to complete that and are still doing that now? Is that still the goal?
I think so, yes, because Lackadaddy was Greg and I, and then three other of our friends, and Greg had a distinct vision of what he wanted to do. He was very influenced by the Beastie Boys at that time and like Rage Against the Machine. So it was kind of almost like, I don't want to say new metal, but it was more like hip hop and more like, it was kind of a one-trick pony, and it was fun, and but it wasn't really built to last. And I knew that, Greg was a pop songwriter. We wanted to have more vocals and actually sing more and have more melodies.
Sure.
But Lackadaddy was definitely a springboard to Smash Mouth,
Yeah, you can hear it too. And for people that go and you just type in Lackadaddy on YouTube and it'll pop right up, and you can, listen to something that would have been more pre Smash Mouth.
And locally, Lackadaddy did pretty good. We were about to get signed. We were selling out clubs in San Jose here, and like for a local band, we were packing in, and we were getting label interest. And then Steve Harwell came bursting in and crashed that party.
yeah.
So,
But it was a good transition. It was a good kind of starter band or something. And then
Sure, yeah.
Greg and I decided that we wanted. It was just more natural for us to be in. Lackadaddy was fun, but it was like kind of a one-trick pony.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, Paul,
Yeah.
I want to ask you this question. So, like, there's a term that's between millennial and Gen Xer that are called, like, what is it, Zennials or whatever?
Zennials.
And it's like, it's used because they're like, okay, the Zennials, they know what life was like before the internet, but they also grew up with the internet, and now they're, but I feel like there should be a term like that with bands that have been around from pre-internet social media,
right.
And like the way things were done old school with record labels and radio plays and
handing out flyers.
Yeah, handing out flyers, and then transition through the entire internet.
That is incredible that you just said that. I think about that a lot. Like, were you like, did you go up the real way or the post-internet way?
Yeah. So,
because in our day, I was still in the we were still back in the mid '90s. There, it was still handing out flyers, and you said you get local success and regional success and
right.
statewide. Then you start showcasing in Hollywood, and then trying to get label and just making demos, getting 8x10 glossy photos, all that stuff. There was that was the old-fashioned way,
Well, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you guys? And I had always thought you guys were a K-rock band, right? Like, is that correct?
Yeah.
Like, I always thought that
K-rock. Yeah, K-rock broke us because we were friends with Carson Daly, who was a DJ up here at San Jose at a station called KOME before he went to K-rock. So we had kind of been in there, and then one I think it was like a Tuesday morning at like 2 a.m. Carson played "Walking on the Sun" just once, and the phones just lit up.
Yeah,
and so
that
we
album,
were definitely a K-rock band.
And that album went crazy. And see, as a radio guy, like I'm an old school radio guy. Still, obviously, we're still on radio, but we left radio about 10 years ago to do podcasting full time. But we still do radio, and so I remember thinking, oh my God, like I mean, that's back when radio stations still had power to break bands. We had that in Orlando with WJRR, and we had a guy, Steve-O, that worked on JRR who broke Matchbox 20 very much in a very similar way. Right, but and then you guys did that was the Fuss You Man album, right? And then the next one was Astro Lounge, and that I don't think people understand that Astro Lounge, how hard it is for a rock band to that's like quadruple platinum at this point.
Yes, and we knew early that we would have been tagged like a one-hit wonder. So as soon as we started touring Fuss You Man, which was a year-long tour, Greg especially had the foresight to start writing right away. It's so easy for bands to get swept up in the new fame and the partying and stuff and forget that you got a record to make here. Like the old saying, you have your whole life to make your first album and 6 months to make your second. So, so Astro Lounge was a real victory for us in a lot of ways.
That thing is that is a mega album, dude. That is I don't think kids, and don't hit the old man button on me, Sam, but I don't think kids understand that album, how big.
Yeah.
I remember every person I went to college with at Flagler College in St. Augustine, when you'd go through the CD collection, you'd see the Lounge you'd see the cover of it, and you'd be like, oh, they got it. Everybody had that album.
Yeah, and that's another thing, Paul, that we talk about all the time is like there's so much content now and there's so many songs and the internet has opened up so much that Daniel talked about the popularity of an album. There were albums that it seems like the majority of the entire United States all collectively was listening to.
Everyone had it.
Because you only had so much. There was a finite amount of content.
Yeah. You're right, exactly. You got here's your choices. You got us, Sugar Ray, Third Eye Blind. Take a pick. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever. You know what I mean? I know what you're. It's funny. Michael, our keyboard player, and I were talking about this, and he was saying how it was actually kind of easier back then to be a fan because everything was a little more compartmentalized or organized. Now it's just there's so much. There's so much. It's kind of confusing and dizzying. How
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's diluted the market. It's the old business saying that if your menu is you have too many things on your menu, you confuse your customer. They don't want anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And but even still, like back then when Astrolabs came out, we were on tour, and this is how it's weird to even understand this, but we weren't really computer people, so you still aren't even sure how well the record's doing. Right. Nowadays everyone's up to date on everything. How it's on the, we're like, wow, I think this song is doing pretty well. People seem to like this in concert. It was more grassroots, and it was kind of fun that way.
Paul, you bring up a great point because now. Any
it changes
artist
overnight.
Well, any artist can look at their Spotify numbers real time. So
right.
You can be like, all right, we've got 100,000 downloads in the song, or 10 million, or whatever.
And an hour later, you can see the actual number again.
And you guys,
an hour later, right? And now,
and then there was
we would judge it by the crowds are getting bigger. Oh, everyone's singing this song. That's how we would judge it, like live, like that night,
But it sounds better to say, okay, everybody's singing the song. I think that's the hit,
that's a pretty good.
Is it not to pull the wheel too hard here and for a weird transition? Is it difficult to do what you're doing with a new, you have a new lead singer, and it's going really, really well, and the reception seems to be really good, and he's a positive guy that's been doing this for an extremely long time. It's not like it's just some new guy that hasn't, been doing what you guys do. But is it difficult when you go and you do this now, and you're doing it with a new lead singer, or is it exactly the same?
No, it's honestly, it's so much better. It's so much more fun. I'm not going to trash talk Steve or anything.
No.
But it's just it's everyone's happy and everyone's motivated. It's almost like a new band. I know it sounds like a cliche, but Zach has been wonderful. He's the perfect guy. He deserves this. Back when he showed me when he first joined the band years ago, he would show me listings from LA papers and in local bars there'd be listings. It'd be like Sugar Ray, Blink 182, No Doubt, Ghoul Spoon, which was his band, Of all those bands in the late 90s, his was the one that was right there that didn't make it, But he knows all those guys and he's played with those guys, so he's a perfect fit,
That's great.
He understands where we're coming from, and he's just a great singer too.
Do you ever think though that, and this could be a bad question, or you could be a good question. Do you think that the listeners and the people out there, even though they know the music's going to be better, the band's going to be better, and you guys are going to be happier, that a little bit of them misses the antics of the first singer because it was so unpredictable at all?
God, I hope not. But to be honest with you guys, honestly, I don't think this, and I've talked to our manager about this. We've noticed that a lot of times Zach bears a bit of a physical resemblance.
A little bit.
He's kind of a burly guy, kind of a football player.
He's a big
guy.
dude. Yeah.
I think he's a big dude. I think a lot of people don't know it's not Steve. I don't think we haven't had any problems with anyone going,
That's
where's
awesome.
Steve? Or with it, people accepted him right away. His first show was in front of 40,000 people in Guadalajara. We're like, well, welcome to the band, and he handled it just beautifully.
That's
so
awesome.
From that moment, he got thrown into the fire right away, and from that moment on, he's just been, super comfortable. But again, he's been working for this his whole life, so he is ready.
That's awesome.
Paul, I got a question for you, and not to keep going back to, but I'm fascinated with someone like you that has seen, old school way of doing it and then transition to the new current way. And I feel like there won't be, 20 years from now, no one will know any different. Like every band and every current artist will be like, this is the way it always was. Social media has always been around since I started.
Right.
So
everything's digital.
Because me and Daniel have been doing radio for damn near 20 years.
Some people call us the Smash Mouth of podcasting.
So
that's awesome.
but we saw also, like, we started seeing what social media would do to bands, and I'll explain with this. Like, so I remember when 2012, 10, whatever, when like the majority of society had social media, that bands and rock stars and stuff were starting to get some like pushback and some negative press on social media and the internet for things they did or said at their concerts. We saw it with like Fat Mike and NoFX.
Oh, yeah.
Like he made some off-color jokes. He's a punk rocker. This is what punk rockers do.
Well, he hasn't. To be fair, that's what Fat Mike's been doing his entire career.
Yes.
No.
He wasn't doing anything different on that stage.
Yeah,
Right.
but someone filmed it,
know.
and then someone, and now if you have a bad set or you say off-color comment, people will.
Or bread.
Or,
Yep.
there's a bread
Yeah,
scenario.
The bread scenario.
We're gonna talk to you about that. But it's like you saw that happen. I'm sure you saw like when there wasn't social media, and then you saw when it started affecting. How did you guys deal with that?
How do you personally handle that?
What I know is, first of all, let me just say this: NoFX is the greatest punk rock band ever. I mean, I don't care what I love NoFX.
Yeah, we love them around here too.
Their music. They're such a good punk rock band. Anyways, what I noticed is this. Here was the main visual like turning point that I saw. Fairly quickly I noticed that instead of I'd look out in the crowd and you'd see a sea of faces looking at you. All of a sudden, you look out and see thousands of the back of people's phones. You know what I mean? Like they're not watching; they're filming you. Like put your phone on and watch. That was what I noticed. Why is everyone pointing their phones at us?
It's weird.
Instead of just being.
And they're watching it. They're watching it through their phone, and then some people would say, "Well, are they videoing it because they're going to watch that later?" And I would say, "No, they're not. They're videoing it because looking through their phone is more comfortable to them than real life of standing there and staring at you."
That's interesting.
I'm serious. I've thought about this before, late at night, really high, and I'm like, I think it's because they're more comfortable looking into the screen because they can hide behind it.
Also, if they catch something like one of you guys does something wrong or says something,
God forbid you be human.
Then they post it on the internet and they could be like, "Look, and I saw it, Smash Mouth," which is a weird thing to do as well.
And people don't realize it's easier to fall off a stage than you think.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, I bet.
Have you ever?
When I see someone falling off a stage or something, I feel so. I'm like, I know where you're. It's happened. It's happened to me. It's happened to that things like that get captured, and then it's like everywhere, and it's kind of embarrassing. But
and it hurts.
And it hurts. Yes, it does.
So, Paul, I gotta ask you about the bread situation because we let our listeners know that we were interviewing you, and then they're like, ask them about the bread.
Yeah. And Samantha and I have seen you guys multiple times. We're fans. Like, what's going? Can you recount a bit of that without necessarily trashing Steve?
To be fair, if I was on
it
stage and
was-
somebody was throwing bread at me, I'd probably cuss them out too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's disrespectful.
At one point, I told the audience, I'm like, could someone throw up some cold cuts and mayonnaise so we can make sandwiches up here?
Why did they start throwing bread?
It was funny. It was funny. It's bread. It was bread day. Someone had they were handing out.
It was a
some
food
bread
festival, and they were handing out free bread to the audience.
I'm glad we weren't there the next day when it was brick day. But they're throwing these wadded up things of bread at us, which I thought was hilarious. Playing in government, I've had way worse things thrown at me. Than
Sure,
bread.
you're in a band, man. You know what it's like.
But no problem. Go ahead and throw as much bread as you want. But it seemed to upset our singer at the time. I didn't really understand that. we just kept playing,
Yeah, you got
having a
to.
bad
You
day.
got all singers. That's what you do. I'm a drummer, so I'm dumb. I'm very dumb.
Yeah, you're a drummer. You're in back there. There's not as much bread. It's you.
Yeah, exactly. I got cymbals to protect me back there.
Well,
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of like going back to the social media thing where like there used to be a time where a band can go into town and you could have like a bad experience or something and then be like, well, we're leaving town tomorrow, so who cares?
Yeah.
But now
and no one knows. Yeah, now exactly.
And now it just follows you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Well, it does. It's true. You got to be a little more careful about what you do. But, our show is clean now. And we're just about having a good time and everything.
Yeah,
so
it's family friendly.
well,
You're trackless.
we're staying out of trouble these days.
Playing Epcot.
I think the trouble is behind us.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's time for you guys to, do some nice Epcot gigs.
But
and,
it does make me sad that the quintessential like acting like a rock star when you go into some place and you just trash wherever you leave a bunch of carnage in your wake and then
can't do it.
You can't do it nowadays.
Well, yeah, as we get older, we still have our fun and everything. It's just a little bit, not as crazy as it used to be.
It's different. You walk over, you walk behind the stage, the American Pavilion, you get yourself maybe 3 Sam Adams. That's a crazy time. That's a crazy time.
Do you get to do those super cool VIP tours at Disney while you're in town?
Yeah, how do they treat you there? Do they set you up real nice?
Oh, they treat us great. It's fantastic. I love the Disney World shows because, not only do they treat us great and everything, but I like the short sets. We do like 3 short sets a night, which benefits us because we're like a song band and we can just hit them with all the hits and just really
get in, get out.
I did notice that, man.
But it's like it's just.
When I took my daughter to see you guys, I did notice that, man, you guys come in and you burn the hits hot and like right up front.
They're
It's
all
like,
hits.
hey, we're going to give you all the hits. And even in their bio, it says, like, look, if you're going to come, we're going to hit you smack dab in the face with all the hits right up front. We're going to get you good.
They'll throw some old school stuff in
Yeah.
there. What's your favorite
Right
ride
to
at
it,
Disney?
Yeah, what's your favorite Disney ride?
Uh-oh,
I know what that means.
Let's see. I don't know.
It's
Right.
fine.
Paul's not a baby. Paul comes in and he's like,
We stumped him.
I got him.
Yeah. He's not there for the rides.
He's there for the money.
That restaurant with the bar in it, that's a good ride.
Oh, yeah. The Rose and Crown?
That's actually a really good answer. The restaurant with the bar inside.
Yeah, I like that one.
Well, Paul, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, man. Again, Smash Mouth, they are going to be at Epcot. And you guys, we talk about Epcot all the time at the International Flower and Garden Festival. It's going on right now, March 1st through July 5th. They're here this weekend. What is the 8th through the 11th? Go see them.
12th and 13th.
12th and 13th. Sorry, I messed it all up.
Sunday and Monday.
Just tell me I'm wrong. Don't kill me. Paul, thanks so much, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys. That was fun.
All right, man.
Awesome.
We'll talk soon. Take care. That was Paul Delisle from the band Smash Mouth.
It is interesting that because there's not that many bands that are still currently playing that started pre-social and pre-internet and now are still playing today, right? I mean, you could probably name a lot, but
I was gonna say, I think there's a lot. Dude.
but no, in the grand scheme of things, there isn't. I mean, like, what are we talking? 100 world, hundreds maybe, and it's dwindling every day.
It's
you know
not
what I'm saying?
thousands, I don't think.
People are dying off.
Well, it's just like.
Well, this band, man, it's being held together by Paul, basically, right? He's the last. I didn't want to really bring that up.
Well, it means like I'm saying.
He's the last original member,
founding member.
You start pre-95 and you're still around today. I mean, we're talking 30 years of a band. That's more rare than that's the minority, I would say, nowadays. And then in 10 years, like there will be a time that no band knows what it is to have operated before the internet. Obviously that's how time
why
goes.
do you think of this stuff?
Well, because then you couldn't never ask
I
these
mean,
questions.
It's torture. When you tell me there's things, they get scary to me. Like when I hear them, oh my God, that's scary.
Well, it's just a reality, and then so like people won't
Reality
understand.
is scary to me.
Won't understand the 360 deal and the way that the record companies used and the radio stations used to control everything, right?
Yeah.
And you couldn't get popular without record companies or radio stations. There was no other way. You had to play the game of the record company or radio station to be able to get popular, unless you were like ICP, and that's the way, like, or some of these other bands that like
Hyper independent, finding a niche that's not served. You know,
that was real hard, and also they benefited from the internet too, because I feel like they caught the tail end of it at the beginning, and then they started to be spread around through the internet. Like that helped them, you know. Like pre that is like you needed the record label, you needed at least touring. You had to tour to be able to get popular, and it's like now, one social media hit could at least expose you to the world, and then use that to.
That's
as a
equally
platform.
terrifying, though. The bands that have the one song that the guy wrote in his dorm room, right? And he releases it, and people are like, "Holy crap, this is great! You're signed, now tour," and you got nothing. Those guys exist.
Yeah,
or they can't tour because they don't have a band, or
that happens with comedians now too. But I think that's more understandable now in this world
because it's the new way
than it was in the 90s,
Yes.
and the way they had to do it in the 90s. And then
do you notice that most people don't bitch rather about like digital audio really anymore? I mean, other than if you're like a true audiophile, because it's just the way we do things.
You
now.
can't,
yeah, we're okay with it now.
Or like everybody, like it's the reality. It's like selling porno. It doesn't exist anymore. It's all free.
Yeah.
Same thing with songs. Like you're not making your money off of albums anymore.
Touring,
you're making your money off touring.
Yeah.
Can
I thank Billy the phone freak for that? Billy,
Yeah.
Billy, thank you so much for setting that up. Billy's going to be helping us out.
He's working on some things for us.
Yeah, he's working on some things for us. And, man, I tell you what, Billy will he'll get you. If you don't email him back, man, where's my email? But thank you, Billy. We love you, buddy. Appreciate you setting that up.
I'm also thinking of, like, I remember when, like, you were still able to kick your audience in the ass or punch them off the stage if they rushed the stage. You know what I'm saying? Like,
can't do that anymore.
And remember when there was, like, a period of time where all these videos of someone kicking or tackling, like
Axl Rose is throwing your camera on the ground, and
and then that happened all the time before social media. Now everybody's been shamed out of it, or
Did you
like
read that article this
guy's a violent monster. you kicked a lady in the head.
Yeah, but they could find anybody. Did you read that article this morning?
Talking about Josh?
I'm talking about that. Well, that guy's an animal anyway. But the guy that kicked the goalie in EPL, and they used cameras and they found him, they banned him and arrested him this morning.
Well,
they can find anybody now.
Well, that's an audience. I'm talking about the band itself. Like, if you got up on stage and you weren't allowed,
they punch you off.
You punch it off. But now I bet they all can't, or they've talked and they're like, well, we can't really do that because it's such bad publicity.
Yeah, that's why you just have an entourage like Dave Chappelle, and then they do it for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
You could still. I guess you could still have your bodyguards do it, but you used to be able to kick them out.
There's a ton of security now at shows too, for good reason. But
because
so a lot of times, because things happen at events where people bring weapons.
I feel
and do
bad
crazy
about
stuff.
people that their favorite band is a band that everybody craps on.
Yeah.
Like a Smash Mouth. Like Smash Mouth, there is a little bit of a Carrot Top syndrome.
People think they're corny.
Where they think, but I'll tell you right now, Sam and I will not let you talk crap about Smash Mouth in front of us. Not in front of us.
I don't hear.
I'll slap your face.
Everybody knows their songs.
They're fun.
Yeah. I think it's just because they're super popular, but it's like if you're a Nickelback, like I see those guys interview and everybody just asks them the same question about like why they became
But they
the
seem
butt of
really
their...
nice. They don't seem like D-heads, right?
No, it's just they've been the quintessential butt of every joke that I know of. And now it's funny because 2023, there is nothing like that because everything is so delicious. There's that one hated band where, like, if you said, I don't like this band, you're like, I've never even heard of it. Because that's the reality here.
It's true.
Now in current day, there is no...
I wonder what's going to be the next thing to start being the delineation, right? What's going to be the line drawn between how everything's more equalized now? There will be something that will draw a line between that and will amplify something, and then those things will rise to the top. But just what's going to be that thing?
That is hard to predict because...
You can't predict.
Nickelback's coming to Tampa in July.
It'll sell out, right? It'll sell out, right?
it's hard to even fathom some unknown technology that will change the world again. But like that's what happened with social media. It may not happen in our lifetimes. Like this could be. It's just going to be more of this for the next 50 years, and then there could be some. Cultural change, but usually it has to be some sort of technology or something. I can't see.
It's going to be all like AI artists.
It could be AI artists.
Oh, you know what?
People arguing whether they're like, but the music's good, and you're like, but it's
Exactly.
not real.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And then new
Yep.
They're already
generation
out there. I mean,
Yeah.
you can Google them and find them.
Yeah, and then us old people will be like, that's not, I need a human making music. I don't want just some computers that doesn't have no soul. And then people are laughing at us, dumb old man, stupid soul.
Hey, Sam,
That's what happened, right?
can
Yeah.
you look up? Can you look up all the other bands that are going to be at the?
I just closed that out, but yes, I will.
Sorry, yeah,
No, it's fine.
I figured you might have it. I apologize. I tried to get to it
Oh,
sooner.
you know what? For sure, there's, and I know it's already happening, but there's going to be some chat GPT of music, and artificial intelligence is going to scan every music that's ever been made, and then create unique music off of that
Right.
with a current popular style, like even scanning the internet and
Already
seeing
doing
what's
it.
popular, and then come out with some song that's super popular.
Not only are they already doing it, but there are already songs that have been released that are currently being pulled because artists are suing them for
Yeah.
scraping the internet.
And it being too
There's
close.
already litigation about Getty's images. They scraped all of those to use in certain AI art projects, and people are saying, no, you can't do that. I'm not allowing you to scrape my art.
Well, guess what?
So now I'm suing you because you're taking my art to influence your AI chat algorithm.
Just like porno and just like the music
far
industry, it's too far gone. The lawsuits are going to take our system is designed for things to happen slowly. By the time these lawsuits are settled, it's already going to be changed. Like
Right,
AI is
right.
already going to be doing everything, and you cannot stop it. Just like how everything's changed, just like Uber, just how the CDs and buying music is done.
Yeah, but Uber's
Like,
done.
I'll hit some of the classics here. We got Blue Oyster Cult.
Oof.
I mean, they've been a band for over 30 years. They're still touring. Or
Okay.
at least they're doing
That's
Epcot.
Don't feel the rebound.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
More cowbell.
Yeah, I feel like a lot
The
of
Pointer Sisters.
okay.
There's only 2 left, right?
I thought there was only one, but I don't know. I'll have to
Then it
double
would
check.
be the Pointer Sister.
Right.
Duh.
What do we got here? Starship.
It's not Jefferson Starship. Wait, that band went through these where they're, I respect that band. You know why? Because they were Jefferson Airplane, and they at one point said, you know what? Airplanes, BS. We're a starship now. I got to take it to the future. Jefferson Starship.
Yep. What else do we have here? We have Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles.
Yeah, old Felders out there.
We
Felder Snatch.
have Switchfoot.
They're a Christian band, right?
Yeah.
They had one hit, Switchfoot.
Yep. Flock of Seagulls.
Okay.
Joe D. Messina. I might go to that one.
Jody Messina?
I'm gonna be out of town.
I remember
Damn it.
Jody Messina. That's a girl, Tom.
Cool in the Gang.
How many gang is just
the
the
full
gang?
gang.
Is Cool there?
Cool is there.
Okay.
What else? Casting Crowns.
Casting Couch. I'm like, what? Casting Crowns, another Christian
Rick
band.
Springfield will be in town,
Oh,
boys.
yeah.
You can interview him again.
Old horny Rick.
Plain White Tees.
Wow, another Christian band, right?
I don't know if they're Christian.
No,
I'm not
thinking,
familiar.
I'm mixing
That's
them
Hey
with
There, Delisle.
Correct.
For some
Yeah.
reason, Plain White Tees I always get them mixed up with Reliant K for
Reliant
some dumb
K.
reason.
The Commodores, Vertical Horizon, Tony Orlando, Simple Plan, Living Color, Wang Chung.
I would go see Living Color. Is it still got Vernon Reed
I don't know.
playing guitar?
Do you
Vernon Reed. Oh, what a good guitarist.
Okay, so do you think, and this is more of a hypothetical question here, but do you think that because the music industry is not the gatekeepers anymore, right? And the whatever is getting popular is up to the people, right?
I think that's why music is so bad right
That I was about to say, because the people don't know what's good or bad really,
Yeah.
and they just like, I like
now.
it.
Dude, we're on the
They're
same
dumb.
wavelength this week.
That's-
We've been
And so music
Yeah.
is
Dumbest thing I've ever heard.
no, but it's like
Think
people
about
are dumb.
the
and-
logic of it.
But music's so subjective. If
It
it's good
is.
to me, it might not be good to Tom. If it's good to Tom, it might not be
That's
good
true,
to
but
me.
I'm talking about as a
You're talking about, like,
whole.
He's
pop
saying in
culture
masses.
music?
You have to take
Like pop music?
over the masses.
It's like idiocracy. It's like if you start following the masses, we're following the
dumbest thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, dude, we
because
are-
we're all
yeah, I agree.
And then, like,
I agree.
If you worked at a record agency or whatever, if you controlled, like, most likely, I know it doesn't make any sense.
Like, you listen to really
like,
good music, Sam, but he's not talking about you. He's talking about the people that listen to the music that's popular right now.
Like, at least
really bad.
the record agencies and the executives and something, they at least had something where they were grading things on some sort of scale where they're like, you have to be at least this good to be popular. And now it's like we leave it up to whatever's on the internet, whatever gets the most likes,
Right.
and that could be less
Celebrities
quality
used to
music.
be kept rather too, but now you have people that are online that are famous, like Liver King, for instance, is super famous, but that guy's a flipping moron.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I hate that guy.
Like, there's a lot of people that have fame with no talent.
Right,
and we
because
saw that
dumb
with, like,
people are in control.
we saw that with, like, reality shows, and people have made the same joke with their Kardashians.
So you're
and
saying
things.
that good music isn't popular?
No, I'm just saying, do you think it just lowers the baseline of how talented the artist has to be to become popular, and therefore will degrade the quality of music as a whole, because now we let the internet, and that's just the masses,
And the
decide
internet's
what's
dumb.
popular.
Yeah.
And the internet is dumb.
Like if you go to YouTube, for instance, and you find the most popular video, it's probably the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be.
Yeah, but I don't think that takes away from people actually making quality music.
No,
No, it
that's
doesn't.
not what he's saying.
Yeah,
It's
I'm not understanding the
yeah,
question.
it's not taking away. He's saying that
just it lowers the quality of
Overall.
music overall.
because popular music right now, the most popular music right now, there wasn't a guy probably looking at that and going, I think this is great because of X, Y, and Z. He was probably going about it like this. This guy's super popular. I know doesn't make sense to me. It's not good, but I'll push it out there and put it under the guys of the record and promote it.
He's a good musician. Like, being a good musician used to be some sort of qualifier to whether you are going to be able to be promoted.
I think that hasn't been a thing for a while, though.
Well, the internet, the internet has caused it.
No, I mean, even in like the 90s with pop music, there's a bunch of trash out there. But but they marketed it the right way. It's all about money.
It is. And I guess with the pop music, and there is some, there will be some different examples of, like, pop music, and, like, you could make the argument that, like, NSYNC or whatever, that maybe, like, they're not musicians, they're just, but that's kind of a phase of music.
Singers.
I'm just saying, like, generally.
It's not a phase, though. There's still pop music. There's still boy bands.
No, I know, but I'm talking about, like, just the quality of musicians, like, because you don't have to have, there's no gatekeeper to, like, all right, this guy's good enough for us to promote, if the general quality is just going to be diminished like everything else. You know, like,
I agree with you.
I think this might be a dumb old man thing. I don't know. I don't agree.
I think I kind of understand what you're saying, because I feel like it used to be
anybody can be popular for anything.
Yeah,
and it
and
just
because
matters if
anybody
you
can
get
be
liked.
popular for anything, that also includes musicians that will be really not that good. There are tons of musicians right now that are the most popular musicians in the world that are the people are the dumbest people in the world, like idiots, right?
Yeah. And they like songs that not necessarily, they don't even know why they like them, and nobody would ever hear them.
What about Scatman?
Pretty dumb.
Oh,
Pretty
you know what I
dumb.
mean? This
Pretty
has
dumb.
always been a thing.
But he can sing.
Yeah.
But he can sing.
But I think the internet made it worse, because
You're just seeing more of it. That's all.
Yeah, no, I understand. But it's also more popular than ever. These people would have never been popular without the internet. That's all I'm saying.
Like, it's almost
they
like
would
no
need some
internet,
sort of,
no mumble rap. It never makes it.
Oh, I don't know.
It never makes it, because the gatekeepers of
Would have never
rap
be like,
would
this is
be
garbage.
like, this is like, because
But
we
there's
all
ebbs
know
and flows of different styles of music all the time, and
But-
it changes.
it does,
Yeah.
but we also
I would say that would be grunge for me. I don't like grunge. I think it's terrible. But people like it.
but the musicians.
But the musicianship, like, you can't say you can say that you don't like grunge, but it's virtually impossible for me. You may
It
disagree
sounds like
with this.
mumble rock to me.
Well, I'm not talking about the singing. You can hate the style of grunge, but, like, you can't look at somebody like Mike McCready of Pearl Jam and go, terrible guitarist. He's not.
But a mumble rapper could have good beats that are produced. They could
never
also
do.
have good lyrics. Well,
They
I don't
never
know,
do.
but
They
I mean, I
never
could
do.
say
the style of rap would be.
Oh, it's like arguing with my grandpa's.
Yeah,
I guess, but I agree with this grandpa. This grandpa's got the goods because he knows what he's talking about.
Well, and like, by the way, I'm not saying this is exactly what happened.
I love
I'm
grunge
just
too. Like, but I understand what you're saying. But some of those guys
throwing out the question, just as, it may be, it may not be. It just seems like that would.
I'm willing to argue that with people. Like, I'm willing to argue that with people because I wouldn't say that we're in a better place right now for music than we've ever been. I'd say we're in a worse place of music than we've ever been because a lot of the people that would help people understand why this music is so good or why this music is so unique, those people aren't around anymore. So it's just like a free-for-all of garbage.
You also, it seems like you don't need to practice as much to be popular as much as you did before.
Because popularity means more in a lot of ways than even the music itself.
What's popular to you?
Well, I don't know, because it's so diluted. It's hard to even say. There is nothing that's like it's a different world down there. But it's like,
what are you talking about?
There is no like just we were talking to Paul about like you used to have only 8 bands to choose from that were popular at the time back in the 90s.
Fair point from the chat. What music does Tom even listen to?
No, I don't listen to anything. So, maybe I'm the wrong person.
See, I listen to a ton of music, and I think popular music right now, it's hit or miss. I'd say the ladies are killing it. I'd say a lot of the girls that are writing songs and singing are doing a really nice job. I think Miley Cyrus crushes it, and she's awesome. But I'd say a lot of hip-hop's in trouble right now. It's real bad. A lot of it's real bad. A lot of the lady rappers are really good right now.
They're probably at
Glorilla's
top of their game
good.
right now.
God, R.I.P. I'm so sorry what happened to you and your contemporaries this week. That was not
Well,
good.
she didn't die.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, who needs that trouble, right? You don't want that trouble.
Yeah, it seems like everything just diluted down one step than it may have been before.
I know that this sounds horrible to say, but I 100% agree with you. I do. I really do agree with it because I feel like it feels like woodshedding, the old school woodshedding of like, oh my God, this guy was
just think about, you guys just went to the Porch Fest. Look at all those amazing musicians.
But they're not popular.
So being popular means what, though?
It just means
it could
you
mean
have
be on the
success.
radio?
It could mean success. It could mean money.
Money?
the most likes, the most shares.
Yeah.
And that what I'm saying is
And that's
that
an easier
may not
life.
be the best.
It's definitely not the best.
Wanted the best?
Well, it may be less.
I've never wanted the best.
Like, yes, all those Porch Fest musicians are awesome, but I see stuff on TikTok that's popular that's garbage comparatively to these awesome musicians.
How do you know it's popular if you don't listen to music?
Just because I see the same song on TikTok over and over, and then I imagine.
Yeah, he is on TikTok a lot.
But it's just like that is the most popular. My son's like the Max. He'll hear a song.
Frosty's a butt man. Yeah, we know.
No, not that.
That's a good song.
That is a good song. Sam approves of that
That's
song.
2022.
And it may just because it all got diluted down, so everything is been brought down because there's just so much. It's just like the whole industry is down a peg. Where before,
I think it's more than a peg.
Yeah.
I think a peg is being nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, I get
don't know.
depressed sometimes when I go, and I mean, yeah, if you want to hit the button, you can. To me, this isn't Dumb Old Man. To me, this is just like as a musician, as a person. That was my dream, right? This is part of my dream. I'm still performing. I'm still doing, whatever this is. But I always wanted to be in a band, a rock band, and be a famous rock star. When I go and I listen to music and I go and I listen to certain things, I can see where people I get a little depressed. I'm like, I don't know if this is, and I listen to all new music and I give it all a shot. I go through all the new albums, all of them, and I listen to them and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't even know what this is.
Yeah,
I wish I understood this. I'm supposed to understand this. I don't know. Why is this so popular?
Well, I mean, it's taste and like it's all subjective. Anyway, interesting conversation of everything
because
changes.
I agree
and
with
morphs
you. The
into
part
it.
I agree with most of your argument is I think that the popularity of the music is in front of the music. Like when you go to iTunes and you're searching the most popular song, you're doing so because the TikTok and the Twitter and the Snapchat and the Insta and everything pushed you there. But you didn't get pushed there because the music was organically so powerful it pushed you there. You're getting pushed there because the algorithm, social media, and the visibility of this artist pushed you there. And that's different. That's intent. And the intent is different.
Yeah, and yeah.
Is that part of it?
It
Does
is.
that make sense?
It's like the collective hive mind. Although the hive mind should be the
But
finite,
this isn't the hive mind. This is a computer algorithm hive mind.
based on likes and
Right.
and subjective hive mind may yield a worse result because
Selective hive mind.
quantitative hive mind will in gambling will
That's
get
an
the
alt rock band.
but it'll give you the most accurate result quantitatively, and that's how it works, and that's why how the spread works in gambling and Vegas works. But subjective hive mind may be worse. I mean, we see it in fucking all other realms of life. I cursed. I apologize. We're gonna have to cut that out.
We should have ended a long time ago.
Bye.
Old man goes on a rant, curses on the radio.
I forgot what show we were doing for a second.
Well, it gets so heated, bro. I'm
No,
not throwing bread at you, bro.
I was just trying to think.
I was just trying to keep the argument going.
Well, it's not even an argument.
Well,
I
you
was
know
just
what I
trying
mean.
to talk it out and figure it out. I don't
Oh
know.
my god, that's hilarious.
Regular Steve Harwell over here.
I'd like to. Maybe I could figure it out. Don't know.
All right.
There is a right answer.
Where's that go?
Thursday 1 and 2.
Actually, there's not really a right or wrong. It's all subjective anyway. But it could lead to people not being as musically talented, or you don't have to be as musically talented.
Well, we didn't get to that part yet, but I think that's true. I think there are less kids learning how to play instruments than there are kids learning how to make beats, and there's nothing wrong with that because that's the way things evolved. Unfortunately, in music, it's a little different because if you want to play rock or something, you're going to have to pick up these antiquated, old-ass fucking old man instruments and learn how to play them.
Okay, well, follow me with this. Like Mr. Beast, we've learned that it's more about the thumbnail click than it is about the content in the video. So that's what I'm saying. Like, is it, because now to become popular, it's all based on clicks, not necessarily the best musician. So are people just going to focus on how to become the most popular on the internet, which degrades the quality of
And Drake
the
said
actual
that
artist?
goes back to Drake. Drake was one of the first people to ever get that right. Even though I like a lot of Drake's music, Drake was the one. You can find the interview, but he says it's not about music, it's about promotion. It's never been about music, it's only about promotion. Like you get your stuff, you get it ready to go, and then you get it in the right hands, and you go out there and you hump it, and it doesn't have to be the best. You just got to hump it.
And that may have always been the case, but back in the 90s or pre-internet, there was at least some people that at least let you in the gate to then promote you. So not necessarily the best musicians, but you had to at least pass the gatekeepers, right? Which was the label or
but it wasn't good for black
the
people
radio.
or women. So
No, yeah. Well, that caused a lot of problems
because
they were only letting in certain people.
Exactly.
So that came with this negative effects, right? But it also, the positive is they wouldn't let in someone horrible,
right?
At being a musician,
right?
And now there is no gatekeeper. The internet is. But again, maybe the hive mind is what people want, and that's always going to be the best.
Is there a hive anymore?
Well, the internet is the hive. I mean, whoever gets the most.
But nobody agrees on the internet.
It is, but
it's a bunch of tiny hives.
But
you might be right.
But I'm saying there's not like a solid hive anymore.
Hives.
But whoever gets the most likes wins. Whoever gets the most listens. Whoever the highest
what
on
are we
Spotify.
doing next? Sorry,
that's it.
I'm blacking out.
Intro, please.
Yeah, we got to do an intro. Hey guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Paul was very nice. That was cool, and thanks to Billy for setting that